Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, District Attorney Sandra, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metzer, James County Jr., and Pathdown Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I've been in jail 6 times, and 6 times a prosecutor's not talked to court. This is the Freedom of Information Law, dated this July 26th. Well, I'm again demanding that you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and you, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan and Michelle Crowley, the District Attorney's Office, disclose to me the names of my prosecutors' silence. I've done this for 18 months here on YouTube, on Gmail. I understand if Gmail is not read and YouTube's not watched. What I don't understand is that when the registered mail return receipt comes to the office of this disgusting, sick degenerate, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and she refuses to disclose the names of my prosecutors. And that's a reason why she's a disgusting, sick degenerate. She hates the human condition. And she gets a thrill out of destroying lives, because I have been prosecuted in total silence by freaks and sociopaths. And I've been attacked by sworn officers of the law and the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees. Silence and violence. The silence of the District Attorney's Office has deposited me in jail 6 times, and it is accompanied by the violence of the Sheriff's Office, where I've been attacked at Wegmans, where I was again stalked and followed, with 5 Monroe County Sheriff Officer vehicles and 10 employees. A Monroe County Sheriff Office employee got out of the vehicle, ran at me, knocked me down, and my head slammed down on the concrete pavement outside of Wegmans. And then a psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, I'm laying on the ground, says to me in his 1984, "Don't move, Chris." What's the name of that employee that attacked me? You're a female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos. Todd Baxter knows that answer. But the person I know that did attack me is Richard J. Seidman, and your office just received a criminal complaint about him. So on this date, it's July 26th, I'm demanding you disclose the names of my prosecutors and tell me their names. This is the Freedom of Information Law. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester and Pathdown Court for John Pilomenzo Jr. What is the name of the prosecutor? Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan, the freak is right here. Tell me the name of the freak. Christopher.chichestermail.com, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York 14604, or you can send it to the address that's on the foil. You'll refuse because you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law. This is the 5'2", 3-piece boy that Regina Harper, the public defender's office, said to me the prosecutor's not backing down. And then when I said to Regina, what's his name, she refused to tell me. Public defender Julius Yanka and assistant public defender Mark Phillips. And you know these names. I'm going to read your salary soon to the public defender's office online. So what's the name of this freak boy? I know what he looks like. Just like I know what the prosecutor before John Pilomenzo Jr. looks like. Is that Julie Hahn or is that not Julie Hahn? Because I'm going to contact Julie Hahn directly. Freedom of Information Law, this is July 26th. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester and Pathdown Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. The freak is right here because this is the payroll for the District Attorney's Office as I communicate with you with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. And a reason why you're freaks and sociopaths and you behave like you do with that revolting Shack District Attorney's Office and at Jonestown Sheriff's Office is that, I'll guess, you spent your whole life in Monroe County. All you knew was Monroe County and Rochester. That's all you know. You don't know a goddamn thing about life and how people behave. You don't even know your own state of New York. You don't know anything about Montauk. You don't know anything about Huntington. You don't know anything about Bay Ridge. You don't know anything about South Ozone Park. You don't know anything about Albany. You know nothing because you've been in Monroe County and Rochester your whole miserable, sick lives. So, Freedom of Information Law. I will be in Albany, New York, where I lived for 5 years in the city and 5 years in the Albany suburb of Guildwood. I'll be somewhere in Albany County right now. If it wasn't for this revolting fucking degenerate that forced me into Alex Renzi, who is it? It's the prosecutor assigned to Alex Renzi. Or you could contact me at that revolting Shack District Attorney's Office and tell me that Alex Renzi's the one that summoned me into New York State Supreme Court and you didn't have anything to do with it. I find that highly implausible. One of you had contact with Alex Renzi to force me into Alex Renzi. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. And that's why I will say I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. But there had to be some type of contact between the District Attorney's Office and Alex Renzi because there I am in front of Alex Renzi. And how does Alex Renzi know my name? I'm going to write down in correspondence to your boss, Mark Monahan and Perry Douglas, if District Attorney Sandra Doorley has ever had any contact, communication, on the phone, email, one of these high society events with Alex Renzi, and my name came up, and you know what she's going to do? Refuse to answer. Freedom of Information Law. Tell me who this freaking sociopath is. Documentation for the case of Christopher Charges, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The freaking sociopath is right here. Tell me who it is. I repeat things because corruption needs repetition. This John P. Lomenzo Jr. Penfield Court released accused child predator Dan Glaus III, and you know exactly who he is, employs his district attorney's office because you prosecuted him. He says that it's defective documents in a story in the Democratic Chronicle. When I demanded, using the Freedom of Information Law, in the last month or two that Lomenzo was in office in Penfield Court, I went over there and he called Lindsey Barron, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence. So I'm using a legally binding document to look at these documents he called defective about accused child rapist, accused child predator Dan Glaus III. He refuses, and then he's calling the officer's mental health upon me, which you psychopaths at the sheriff's office has also done to me. Because you believe in humiliation, that's why. You refuse to provide information, and then you call these mental health bureaucrats to come to talk to me and humiliate me. When I was first using this phrase surveillance device, Lindsey Barron came to my residence at 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, when I had already seen the images of me over and over on the phone of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. This is why you're liars and freaks. So I'm going to show you that device. Todd, is that private technology 2025 Penfield Road or not? So, effective documents decided by John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Court about the case of Dan Glaus III. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, there are two photographs here. It's the black and white one, which you can see if you click on this PDF. And I'm going to show you the color one. Now, if this is not what I'm going to call it, then you tell me what it is. Freedom of Information Law. This is July 26th. Christopher Charges, same address again, 620 Park Avenue, 3 PMBM 361 Rochester, 14604. The language. The cost of a spouse vice purchase of taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter fixed to a building at 2025 Penfield Road to monitor Christopher Charges at 26 Sanders Farm Drive. Walks through the parking lot next to the building. On the PDF, if you click on it, you'll see the black and white photo. That's it right there. The photograph I have in my hand for 2025 Penfield Road, where Elliot Roth is president of a business called Consumer Insights, is right there. How many times do I have to say this and ask this? And now I'm demanding you answer me. Sheriff Todd Baxter, Michael Radler, Kathleen Miller, William Tadeo, Scott O'Berty, bring this PDF to your boss and tell him to answer me. If this is private technology, what did he buy to fix it for me? And this is the lunatic fringe. And this is because a cop freak Shannon Meyer was paid $67,000 and cop freak Todd Baxter gave her a $16,000 raise. The public defender sent me the images. This is why you hate the human condition. So, is this sexual harassment at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office? Sexual harassment is a man asking a woman out on what's commonly called a date, and she's under siege with the answer no. It's a man engaged in forcible touching in the office. It's a man communicating with a woman at the office via verbally or email with lewd, vile, profane language, oftentimes labeled misogyny. There's any number of ways this behavior destroys soul. Do you have behavior that destroys the soul? At the district attorney's office, sheriff's office. You refuse to answer at the district attorney's office, sheriff's office, because you're in the business of destroying souls. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers, Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter suspended taxpayer dollars set on employment-related discrimination lawsuits. Federal comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Here's the first page of the payroll of the sheriff's office. So on the first page of the payroll of the sheriff's office is Kimberly A. Bryant, $40,621.73. Kimberly A. Bryant being sexually harassed. Todd Baxter, if you cared about your employees, you would demand to talk to Kimberly A. Bryant, have a conversation with her, and ask her a simple question. If you've been sexually harassed, do you understand the term? Because people understand it differently. So for this, Kimberly A. Bryant, $40,000. Now, on the payroll is a different employee. That's Kim A. Hinckley at $121,000. So Kim A. Hinckley, because she makes $80,000 more than Kimberly A. Bryant. Kimberly A. Bryant, $40,621.73. Kim A. Hinckley, $121. Since Kim A. Hinckley is paid $80,000 more than Kimberly A. Bryant, she has the power inside the office to repel sexual harassment, unlike Kimberly A. Bryant. The more money you make in any office, the more power you have. in a commonly understood way. This is not Robert Moses, the power broker, but you should know what I'm talking about here with how a difference in pay affects sexual harassment in office. And it doesn't matter if you freaks or sociopaths. You freaks or sociopaths. You will never know. Do you think that there's admiration for you employees at the sheriff's office and district attorney's office? Because I'll tell you the way it is. There is real, genuine hatred for you people by the citizens of Monroe County, and you don't know it. So, Freedom of Information Law on this July 26th. The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley spending taxpayer dollars settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits failed to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So here is the payroll for the district attorney's office. Now, on the payroll for the district attorney's office is Sandra Doorley, $210,900. I believe she gave herself a raise because she was paid $203,000, and now she's paid $210,000. She received an automatic cost of living. Would the district attorney of Monroe County give herself her own raise? Am I correct about that? Because I'm doing this from memory. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley. Was your boss paid $203,000 and now she's paid $210,000? She gave herself her own raise. Or did that happen because the Monroe County legislature some other way that she could get a raise? Now, on this payroll of the district attorney's office, the last name is Jennifer Kennedy, $111,000. So this is Jennifer Kennedy, $111,000. And there's Christine Fantayuso with $61,000. That $50,000 difference in pay between $61,807 Christine Fantayuso and $111,636 Jennifer Kennedy is why Christine Fantayuso is more vulnerable to be a sexual harassment victim than Jennifer Kennedy, even though Jennifer Kennedy can be a sexual harassment victim. You know from whom? $144,000 Perry Duckles. Because of that disparity in pay between $144,000 Perry Duckles, the number 2 at the district attorney's office, and Jennifer Kennedy. Perry Duckles, in your 20 plus years since you were hired in 2003 at the district attorney's office, have you ever been told there is what's commonly called sexual harassment? Or you just are made aware of it? You know how you can be made aware of sexual harassment? On Capitol Hill, there is a vibrant, active nightlife where I worked as U.S. House and U.S. Senate staffers. And staffers go out and staffers talk about things in bars and outside bars and at parties that they never talk about in the office because they're loosened up by the alcohol or they're not drinking alcohol and it's just more relaxed. Because I would find out things about what's happening in my own offices because I work for Congressman Mark Smith of Texas and Senator Olympia Stump. But my own colleagues, we're all standing around in a circle, drinking and having a good time. And that's when you find out about what your colleagues are doing, including sexual harassment. I had one woman, I think her exact words for me, he just won't leave me alone. I've heard that language when I worked in Albany too. So there's any number of ways that you freaks and sociopaths at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office can answer this question for me, and you refuse to answer. The way it's answered is if there's an expenditure because of a lawsuit where Todd Baxter, sheriff of Monroe County, and Sandra Doorley, district attorney of Monroe County, have expended taxpayer dollars to settle a lawsuit. What's the answer you refuse to answer? Because you're corrupt. So this is why you're a freak, Todd Baxter. You don't know you're a freak. This is exactly, precisely, specifically why you're a freak. Freedom of information on the cost of taxpayers for photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd Baxter, photograph of 10 Monroe County Sheriff Office underwater in a pool. I don't care if it's a private event. Again, is this taxpayer dollars or is this not taxpayer dollars? When you say it's a private event, it could still be taxpayer dollars. When I contact Tom Speak to Napoli, which should be in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I don't know. When I say I'm going to contact someone, I hesitate to say when it's going to be because of how frenetic my life is, because of you freaks. I will cite this to Controller Thomas P. DiNapoli about why you should be audited. This is what the sheriff of Monroe County is doing. Just like Senator Ryan Fish from Atlanta, Georgia, I'm not going to hold up the photographs because I'm already at 14 minutes. And I have to go today because I have to get on my life given what I'm doing at 7 a.m. already. But I've held this up repeated about Ryan Fisher. He's right there in front of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I've held up the flag of the state of Georgia that wasn't changed to 2003. What's he doing in Stars and Bars, Georgia? Freedom of information on the cost for a hotel and plane ticket from Monroe County Sheriff employee Ryan Fisher attended Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia, February 3rd, 2019, with his canine dog Lola. That means when violence crashes down on Monroe County and the city of Rochester, in a city where 29-year veteran of the Rochester Police Department, Anthony Mazurkowitz, is murdered by psychopath drug dealer Kelvin Vickers, your employee Ryan Fisher is in the Deep South. So you have that communicated to you today. The Freedom of Information Law on this July 26th. I'm going to continue to use the Freedom of Information Law. This is not filled out. This is blank. And when I fill it out, you'll still refuse. And the number of foils, as it's called, that you will comply with is 0 because corruption is predictable. Now, the criminal complaints that I've sent to your office, these are all notarized for me by Christopher M. Price, Notary Public, State of New York. He's at the Monroe branch of Rochester Public Library. What do you think when you walk down Monroe Avenue, or passing your vehicles, or riding on your bikes, or running, however you walk down Monroe Avenue? Monroe Avenue is just like Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, parts of it. Because my mother and father from Brooklyn, I've been there. There are things that happen on Monroe Avenue that are extremely disturbing. It's the same things that happen on East Main Street, where the freaks are outside screaming at each other. The freaks are walking up there. I have said to human beings over and over and over, my exact language to these human beings is, get the fuck away from me. Because these freaks are everywhere coming up to you. And I'm a city person. There are freaks everywhere coming up to you, wanting to talk to you, asking for money. It is disgusting how these freaks behave. That's a reason why Rochester, New York is so violent. Because there are freaks everywhere. And Mayor Malik Evans and his police chief, I think his name is David Smith, do not have RPD on foot. RPD on foot will be able to control crime. This will be right there in the community, but they're isolated in their vehicles. This is basic policing that James Q. Wilson, the most prominent criminalist of the 20th century, wrote about. Basic policing doesn't happen in Rochester, New York, and that's why Rochester, New York is a city of violence. So, this is Todd Baxter. This is in your office because I sent it. These receipts right here. You have it. This arrived in your office. July 22nd, should have this. When I go to my box, the return receipt should be there for this. So, attached to Todd Baxter, Sheriff Sandra Doorley. This is attached to the PDF too. Attached to 4 criminal complaints with this language. That Richard J. Stevens, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked into the Penfield Public Library, Penfield, New York, ran Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head and surrounded the tile floor. 2. They rushed Sean Lynn Kumar shot 2033 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14526, false reporting an incident of Christopher Chichester performing 26 Sanders Farm Drive is walking through a parking lot next to his residence. 3. Antonio Spano of Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of the residence 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, New York, without a court order. 4. Laura Webster, New York, transferred the personal belongings of Christopher Chichester from 26 Sanders Farm Drive in Penfield, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. These are crimes. Each individual will not be arrested or prosecuted. There isn't one day in jail served for these crimes that have destroyed my life because you are incapable of identifying crime. You concoct crimes from its citizens. You hate the human condition. There's a link here, rejection for paradox of Mark Monahan. I call this unconstitutional because if it's unconstitutional, Paul C. Metz was one person to convene Penfield Town Court when the district attorney's office is not notified or present. The district attorney's office is not notified or present. No one can make an argument I committed a crime. This disgusting, sickening, $28,000 bald-headed widow, Paul C. Metzer, convened Penfield Town Court. Richard J. Seaman attacked me, and then I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, and I'm confident that's not constitutional. Because how am I in jail? There's one person, Paul C. Metzer, and that means, as I said repeatedly, this disgusting, sickening degenerate, I hope burns in hell, can convene Penfield Town Court anytime she wants, with the district attorney's office not there, and she can send anybody she wants to the town of Penfield, 36,000, to jail. And that doesn't matter to you freaks and sociopaths, the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, because you're freaks and sociopaths. So this is the criminal complaint. Psychopaths like the color red. That's why I write in red. So, Christopher Chichester, what I just read here. The criminal complaint. Here's what I wrote out. And this is the notary public right here. When you're thinking, how can we conduct the crime for him? Are these criminal complaints by him crimes? It's exactly what you're thinking at the district attorney's office. Are these crimes that I have in my hand? When I'm telling you, these are the crimes that destroyed my life. Because you're in Jonestown, you're in 1984. Christopher M. Price. Criminal complaint, Philela Kumar Shah, Niraj Shah, going to the sheriff by the parking lot, I walked for 4,000 times. Here it is right here, Christopher M. Price, criminal complaint. The clerk sent me these. I believe it's Jamie Marrero. Clerk sent me these when I said to her office and her deputy clerk, I think his name's Thaddeus Mack, what's the form for a criminal complaint? This is what they sent me. Here's Anthony Ospano right there. Christopher M. Price, the notary's right there. This is Laura Riley, Webster, New York. The notary's right there. I've known Laura Riley for 35 years. And we lived in 3 different residences. And I'm telling her to tell me for 18 plus months about Anthony Ospano locking doors and her taking everything to the storage locker. For 18 months, Laura Riley has refused to tell me. It's a crime in the state of New York to move anything out of my residence without a court order. That's what I've been told by the Tenant Defense Project, my own research online. Because if that's not the law in the state of New York, a landlord can lock the doors on a tenant anywhere in the state and take every single possession of it to a storage locker, which has happened to me. These are crimes, every single one I read. There won't be any arrests, any prosecution, nothing's going to happen to me. Every single one of these human beings is a psychopath. And in this, I will take previous times I've been on YouTube and I will print out the Gmail I sent to you. And then you can see what I've said to you previously. So on these criminal complaints, this is what's the next document in it, where I say, you're freaks. On January 24, 2023, comply with the attached PDF dated January 24, 2023 to 70 Freedom of Information Law documents. This attached PDF will arrive in your office of the registered mail returns to the United States Postal Service tomorrow. The information I demand, send the information I demand to my address in Rochester, New York. This includes the names of my prosecutors, and you refused, and this is why District Attorney Sandra Doorley is corrupt. I'm telling you on this day, Richard J. Seaman is a violent fanatic. YouTube violence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, 75904, Richard J. Seaman, Michael Houlihan's perjurer, and fanaticism. Fanaticism is the perfect word for you. I'll write a criminal complaint soon about Michael Houlihan. And here I'm telling you on this January 21st that Michael Houlihan's a perjurer. You could go to YouTube perjurer 73312, Michael C. Houlihan in my Sheriff's Office. Again, I'm telling you about this violent freak, Richard J. Seaman. And it does not matter to you because you're freaks. The district attorney's office doesn't know how to identify crime. That is mind-blowing. So here you have the Freedom of Information Law. I have communicated with you. Tell me the names of my prosecutors. Silence. When I come back on here, this is the same document here that I'm told from the clerk's office. It's a criminal complaint. I'll have this notarized about Michael Houlihan lying under oath and saying I swung a hammer at him on my back porch in Penfield, New York. And this is why you're corrupt again. This is cruelty, Sheriff Baxter. District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. This is April 29th. This is why you're corrupt. April 29th, cruelty, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi. Comply with the attached Freedom of Information Law documents dated April 29, 2023. Mail the names of my prosecutor's sons, address, Paul Rochester, New York. I prosecutor's sons before Penfield Court Judge John P. Metzer, Jr., Penfield Court Judge Paul C. Metzer, New York State Supreme Court Judge Alex Renzi resigned. That's my address, Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. It's right here. Tell me the names of my prosecutors. Because the Appellate Division of State Supreme Court is where a attorney is disbarred, and that's why I'm pursued for these freaks. So on this July 16th, this is attached to PDF, unconstitutional. I tell you about the criminal complaints here. Your officers will receive a criminal complaint next 7 days by 80-year-old Anthony Ospano, Fairport, New York, locking me out of my residence, Penfield, New York, without a court order. He will not be arrested because of his age. Your officers will receive a criminal complaint from me in the next 7 days by neighbor shot, Penfield, New York, false reporting incidents, walk through a parking lot 4,000 times. He will not be arrested because your Kool-Aid drinkers can't identify a crime. Your officers receive a criminal complaint from me in the next 7 days about 75,904, Richard J. Seaman, violently assaulting me in Penfield Public Library. He will not be arrested or fired because he's a Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee. So, I have repeatedly told you to send me this information. This is the accusatory issue of me walking through a parking lot here. The ridiculous, sick, lunatic fringe of an arrest warrant for me for a parking lot I have walked through 4,000 times. And it does not matter to you freaks and sociopaths that Shannon M. Meyer concocted that for me. You love to surround yourself with a freaking sociopath like this Shannon Meyer. Todd Baxter, why hasn't she been fired? Freaks and sociopaths come to the home of an innocent citizen, man, his dog, and that's what you did to me because it's Nehra Shah and Layla Kumar Shah. So, you hate the human condition. And when I'm on here, you should always be thinking about, this is the parking lot next to my residence. This brings me to the attention of the Sheriff's Office because it's Nehra Shah, this 50-year-old man lives with a 7-year-old mother, and Shannon Meyer, this freak at the Sheriff's Office who doesn't know that this is not a crime. Coming back from Gold's Gym in Fairport one day, Nehra Shah's up here. He begins to screaming at me. I have this confrontation with him. As I walk away, he's still screaming at me. I give him the official finger of Brooklyn, New York, which I'm giving to you, and I tell him to fuck off, and this is restraint. So I have this confrontation with Nehra Shah, and this is the accusatory issue. This is all. This is another reason why you can possibly not arrest him or charge him, because the length of time has passed. His mother's name is on here, Layla Kumar Shah. I have a confrontation with this freak Nehra Shah, who's a Penfield Public Library trustee. I'm going to try to remove him from that position. And his mother is on here. This is the bizarre status of my life. So I have this confrontation with him. And I believe he's thinking, since he's an attorney, I'd like to know the joke of law school he graduated from. I believe he is thinking, I cannot expose myself to the risk of either being disbarred or charged with a crime or bringing attention to myself because of what I want to do to the citizen living next to me with a criminal complaint. Because perhaps it's really not a crime, and I'll get my mother to go to the sheriff's office. I'm at the YMCA. I don't know his mother. The mother has the criminal complaint there, and I've never met her. So I go to the YMCA, and Paul C. Metzer, this revolting hack, I'll say the same thing I always say about her. I hope you burn in hell, Paul C. Metzer. Writing these orders of protection. I get out of Livingston County Jail after Richard J. Seaman. There she is with these orders of protection, this freak that hates human beings. I'm in handcuffs. I had to sign them. So I'm at the YMCA. I finish swimming in the pool. And I go to this large room with the rowing machine. I sit down. I love doing this so much. And if you're athletes and people go to the gym and the tens of millions love doing these things. So I'm sitting on the rowing machine. I'm looking at the speed bag, which I taught myself how to use. And I've been a boxing fan my whole life. And I think about my favorite fighter, Sugar Ray Leonard. I went to that Leonard Hagler fight too on April 6, 1987. It was epic. So this is what I'm thinking about, my state of mind. I'm trying to have a good time. I'm thinking about all my favorite fighters. I'm thinking about when Leonard knocked out Wilfred Benitez with 20 seconds to go in his fight in 1979, become the welterweight champion. I'm thinking about all the great fights. And I'm on a rowing machine. And when I look at the speed bag, there's Layla Kumar Shah standing next to it. And I'm thinking, I have the same constant thoughts in my mind. Why is this freaking gonna leave me alone? So I'm rowing, and she starts to walk toward me. And as I'm rowing, I'm looking at her, and I'm repeating to myself, leave me alone, leave me alone. And Layla Kumar Shah stands in front of me, points bizarrely to something next to me. I say to her, what's my name? You know my name. She's frightened and startled. She goes up to a YMCA employee, and she points at me and says he doesn't belong to the YMCA. And then the YMCA employee replies to Layla Kumar Shah, I don't know what you're talking about. So the next day, I go back to the YMCA to continue my daily routine that I do every single day. And the employee says to me, Michael wants to talk to you. And then I thought, I'm going to get kicked out of another gym because of Sheriff Todd Baxter. So this is Michael Avery, who is, I believe his title is the manager. So he comes out and he says, let's go up to the second floor. And I sat down, I'm preparing mentally. I said, you just terminate my membership. And he says to me, I heard what happened, tell me what happened. And I was in tremendous relief. And Michael Avery listened to me, and I told him what's going on at my residence. And my exact words to Michael Avery is, you, Michael, can walk through this parking lot without being arrested, but I'll be arrested. And he let me stay at the YMCA, and I was so grateful to him for it. What you're doing to me, you freaks. Because of Anthony Ospano locking the door and locking me out, I had to get a mail-in application for my birth certificate. So, July 4, 1965, my birth, Booth Memorial Hospital, Queens. My mother, Margaret Hennessy, my father, William Chichester. I had a box of St. Christopher medals that are all gone. And my mother would tell me, St. Christopher will always protect you. I don't believe that anymore. I'll never believe that. Because you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and your psychopath employees, and you, District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, and psychopath employees, don't even have my birth certificate. Because it is all more locking doors. So, on this January 22nd, there is freedom of information. I sent this packet to your office. I'll just open it up and see which one you need to comply with. So, this is something that I will send to Control Thomas Piganapoli. This could generate real anger in Monroe County. Freedom of information when you refuse to answer on this January 18th because you corrupt Todd Baxter. The number of minors on the public employee payroll of Monroe County Sheriff's Office were related to Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees. On the payroll that I acquired that I no longer have. On the last page of the payroll, you have your $10,000 and $12,000 quote-unquote employees. Are they the children of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees? I know you refuse to answer. I'm going to write this foil again soon. I'm going to include this document right here, a copy of it. Control Thomas P. Napoli, and when I send this to his office in Albany, I'm going to say you refuse to answer. Nepotism is easily understood by people. I believe you're infested with nepotism at the sheriff's office. I believe there is nepotism at the district attorney's office, but I don't want to use the word infested because the size of your little shack. So, what are the names of my prosecutors? And you will continue to refuse to disclose the names of these freaks and sociopaths. Now, I'm going to put this in the mail today. It's just going to go in a regular envelope right here. I don't like to use the regular mail because then I don't have validation, certainty that you have received it. I do not know if I just place something in the mail that you receive it when I use UPS, registered mail return receipt, and FedEx. Then I know you get it because it's tracked. But this right here, dated July 21st. Well, I'm telling you to mail the prosecutor's office. I'm just going to put this in the mail. And I'm going to put this in the mail to you, public defender Judy Cianca, and you $87,000 public defender Mark Phillips. And what you could do is simply disclose the names of my prosecutors. You have this information in your office. And you will refuse. Absolutely insane. I cannot find out the names of prosecutors in a public proceeding for me. What's not to understand? You freaks and sociopaths do understand. You're responsible for the law in Monroe County. What does the law mean to you? Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees at the Sheriff's Office, District Attorney Sandra, Doorley, employees at the District Attorney's Office. The law's a joke to you because you destroy lives using the law. So, this here is because of Shannon Meyer. This is the accusatory instrument where I took every sentence of this lie. Well, I'm telling you, Todd Baxter, that your employee is a freak, where I took every sentence, I'm responding to every sentence here. And it's dark here. And it doesn't matter to you that this is fanaticism. It doesn't matter to you that she's a freak. Because you're the blue wall silence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. I don't have any clothes because you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, you, Judge Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, you, Paul C. Messer, you, James Money Jr., in Penfield Court. I have to go to the Goodwill to buy clothes because this old man, Antonino Spano, locking doors and locking me out. My ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, taking what I thought I owned to a storage locker. All my clothes are gone. And that doesn't matter to you because you believe in silence and violence. The silence in the district attorney's office has deposited me in jail 6 times when assistant district attorneys never talked to court. It's accompanied by the violence at the sheriff's office where I'm being attacked by a freak at the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans and $75,000 freak Richard Seaman at the Penfield Public Library. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man my whole life.